Alright guys, and welcome back to Little Lawn Gaming Channel. Today we have a brand new series for you. We are adding Bugatti into the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode and seeing how they get on with everything switched to automated. We have decided on our teammate, which is Callum Ilott, to start off with. And the main driver will be called Valentino Rossi, mainly because he's my favourite racer of all time. So fingers crossed everything goes well. I don't expect we'll see much of them in this video, but hopefully from the second, maybe third season onwards, they'll start to develop a competitive car and start getting themselves up that grid. So, in the first race of this brand new series, Max Verstappen wins in Bahrain, Sergio Perez second, Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, Leclerc fifth, Norris 6th, Sainz 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, and Vettel finished 10th. Unfortunately, neither of the Bugatti guys managed to get into that top 14, so we can't see them, but they were 16th and 18th respectively, Ilott ahead of Rossi. And at Imola, we see one of the Bugatti boys, Rossi, who started last, managed to finish 13th. However, it was Lewis Hamilton who won the race. Valtteri Bottas second, so Mercedes bouncing back after Red Bull got the 1-2 in Bahrain. Verstappen third, Perez fourth, Sainz fifth, Leclerc sixth, Ricciardo 7th, Norris 8th, Alonso getting in there for 9th for Alpine, and Vettel once again in 10th for Aston Martin. And at Portugal, Rossi goes one better, managing to finish 12th for Bugatti. Fantastic for him. Bottas, though, won the race ahead of Lewis Hamilton in second, Perez third, Norris fourth, Ricciardo fifth, Leclerc sixth, Sainz 7th, Pierre Gasly 8th for AlphaTauri. Fernando Alonso once again picking up some points for Alpine in 9th, and Vettel, for the third time this season, in 10th. However, in Spain, Verstappen picked up the victory ahead of Lewis Hamilton in second, Perez third, Leclerc fourth, Sainz fifth, Norris and Ricciardo in 6th and 7th for McLaren, Gasly 9th, Vettel managing to finally get higher than 10th and finish 9th, and Alonso, who usually finished 9th, finished 10th. The Bugatti boys, however, nowhere to be seen. And as we turn to the streets of Monaco, Valtteri Bottas picked up the victory for Mercedes, Verstappen second, Hamilton third, Perez fourth, Leclerc fifth, Ricciardo 6th, Norris 7th, Sainz 8th, Gasly 9th, and Vettel returns to 10th. Valentino Rossi managed to pick up a 13th place. Not bad in one of the worst cars on the grid. So after 5 races, Lewis Hamilton is leading the Drivers' Championship with 92 points ahead of Max Verstappen with 84 in second. Bottas is third, just a few points behind him. Then there's Perez in fourth, Leclerc 5th, Norris 6th, Sainz 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, Vettel 10th, and Alonso's 11th. Everybody else is yet to score. And in the Constructors, it is Mercedes who lead the way, 16 points ahead of Red Bull in second, Ferrari a third, McLaren fourth, AlphaTauri fifth, Aston Martin have 6 points in sixth, 1 point ahead of Alpine in seventh. The rest of the teams haven't scored, however Bugatti sit 8th, having finished in higher positions. And in Azerbaijan, it's Verstappen who hits the front and wins. Bottas second, Hamilton third, Perez fourth, Norris fifth, Gasly 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Leclerc and Sainz quite disappointing for Ferrari in 8th and 9th, and Alonso got that final point for Alpine in 10th. And he's hitting form at the right point as Verstappen wins in Canada. Bottas second, Perez third, Leclerc 4th, Sainz 5th. Better weekend for Ferrari there. Norris 6th, Gasly 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Vettel 9th, and his teammate Stroll managed to nip in with a point as well for Aston Martin in 10th. After a few races without seeing one of them, Rossi manages to pick up a 14th and creep onto the leaderboard, but it was Hamilton who won in France. Bottas made it a 1-2 for Mercedes, Verstappen 3rd, Leclerc 4th, Perez 5th, Norris 6th, Sainz 7th, Gasly 8th, Ricciardo 9th, and Vettel once again, not for the first time this season, in 10th. And it's back-to-back weekends of being on the leaderboard as Rossi hits 14th again in the Bugatti, but it is Hamilton who wins in Austria, Verstappen 2nd, Leclerc getting on the podium in the Ferrari, Perez 4th, Sainz 5th, Norris 6th, Gasly 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Vettel once again scoring points, and Alonso got the final one in 10th. And right now, Lewis Hamilton is on fire as he wins again in his home Grand Prix of Britain. Bottas 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Norris 4th, Perez 5th, Leclerc 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Sainz 8th, Gasly 9th, and Alonso in 10th. And in the final race before the midway point of the season. Charles Leclerc props up with a surprise victory in Hungary. Max Verstappen second, Hamilton third, Bottas fourth, Perez fifth, Sainz sixth, Norris seventh, Ricciardo eighth, Gasly ninth, and Alonso once again in 10th. And that all means in the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen leads the way, 4 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Bottas sits in third, Perez fourth, Leclerc fifth, Norris sixth, Sainz seventh, Ricciardo eighth, Gasly ninth, Vettel 10th, Alonso 11th, and Stroll is the only other driver to have picked up a point in 12th. And in the Constructors at the midway point, Mercedes still hold the advantage, 19 points ahead of Red Bull, Ferrari 3rd, McLaren 4th, AlphaTauri 5th, Aston Martin 6th, Alpine 7th. The rest of the teams haven't scored, but Bugatti still sits 8th. Going into the mid-season break, as you can see, it's not good reading for Bugatti, who currently sit with the worst car on the grid. Goes to show what Valentino Rossi has been doing, pulling that car higher up. Callum Ilott, we haven't seen him yet. Will we see him before the end of the season? Let's find out. And in the mid-season, we've also had a few driver changes. Nicholas Latifi has moved to Haas. And then Mick Schumacher went to AlphaTauri, which means Yuki Tsunoda lost his seat and had to move to Williams. Big moves, and what a move for Schumacher. And as the second half of the season starts up, Lewis Hamilton gets back to winning ways in Belgium. Verstappen second, Bottas third, Perez fourth, Leclerc fifth, Norris sixth, Sainz seventh, Ricciardo eighth, Gasly ninth, and Schumacher in his first race for AlphaTauri picks up a point. And Max Verstappen's homecoming party was ruined as Lewis Hamilton wins again in the Netherlands. Verstappen second, Bottas third, Leclerc fourth, Norris fifth, Sainz sixth, Perez seventh, Ricciardo eighth, Gasly ninth, and Alonso got the final point for Alpine in 10th. And in Italy, it's a hat-trick for Lewis Hamilton as he wins again. Bottas second, Perez third, Leclerc fourth, Verstappen all the way down in 5th. Ricciardo 6th, Sainz 7th, Norris 8th, Gasly 9th, and Vettel got the final point in 10th. I'm starting to get a little bit worried. We haven't seen a Bugatti driver in quite a while. Mercedes are really starting to turn it on the second half of this season as Bottas wins for them in Russia. Lewis Hamilton second, so it's a 1-2 for Mercedes. Verstappen third, Leclerc fourth, Perez fifth, Norris 6th, Sainz 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, and Alonso in 10th. And in the Drivers' Championship, Lewis Hamilton leads Max Verstappen by 30 points, Bottas 54 points off the pace. Then it's Perez in 4th, Leclerc 5th, Norris 6th, Sainz 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, Vettel 10th, Alonso 11th, and then Schumacher and Stroll are both on a single point in 12th and 13th. And in the Constructors, Mercedes start to tighten their grip, 84 points now ahead of Red Bull. Ferrari are 3rd, McLaren 4th, AlphaTauri 5th, Aston Martin 6th, and Alpine are the only other team to score in 7th. Bugatti, Alfa Romeo, Williams and Haas all starting to look like it's going to be one of those seasons. And it is 5 wins from 5 for Mercedes since the mid-season break. Valtteri Bottas wins in Singapore, Hamilton second to make it a 1-2. Charles Leclerc and Sainz ensure both Ferrari split Mercedes and Red Bull as Verstappen and Perez finish 5th and 6th. Norris 7th, Vettel 8th, Gasly 9th, and Ricciardo finished in 10th. And now it's a hat-trick for Bottas as he wins a 3rd race on the trot in Japan. Verstappen 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, Perez 4th, Sainz 5th, Leclerc 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Norris 8th, Alonso 9th, and Vettel finished in 10th. And Mercedes continue their dominance in America as Lewis Hamilton wins the race. Bottas ensures it's a 1-2 for Mercedes. Verstappen and Perez 3rd and 4th. Sainz 5th. Norris 6th. Vettel 7th. Ricciardo 8th. Alonso 9th. And Gasly got that final point for AlphaTauri in 10th. And Mercedes are absolutely dominating the second half of this season. Another 1-2 in Mexico. Bottas first, Hamilton second, Leclerc getting on the podium for Ferrari in third, Verstappen 4th, Sainz 5th, Norris 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Schumacher with his highest F1 finish in 8th, Alonso 9th and Vettel 10th. The worrying thing is we haven't seen a Bugatti driver in the top 14 in the second half of the season. And right now, Valtteri Bottas is on a title charge as he wins in Brazil. Hamilton 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Sainz 5th, Norris 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Perez all the way down in 8th for Red Bull, Vettel 9th and Gasly finished 10th. And with 3 races left, Lewis Hamilton does still hold the lead in the Drivers' Championship, 26 points ahead of Bottas. Actually a bit of a bigger gap than I thought it was. Verstappen 3rd, Leclerc 4th, Perez 5th, Norris 6th, Sainz 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, Vettel 10th, Alonso 11th, Schumacher 12th and Stroll was still just 1 point in 13th. And in the Constructors, Mercedes have basically wrapped up the championship now, 196 points ahead of Red Bull. Ferrari are 3rd, McLaren 4th, AlphaTauri 5th, Aston Martin 6th, Alpine 7th, Bugatti, Alfa Romeo, Williams and Haas all without scoring. But right now, Valtteri Bottas is on the hunt for his teammate as he wins again in Australia. Verstappen 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Hamilton in 4th in the end, Sainz 5th, Gasly 6th, Norris 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Vettel 9th and Alonso got the final point for Alpine in 10th. However, it's Lewis Hamilton who fights back in Saudi Arabia, winning the Grand Prix. Bottas 2nd, Perez 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Leclerc 5th, Sainz 6th, Norris 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Alonso 9th and Vettel 10th. And in Abu Dhabi, Mercedes have a mare which hands the championship to Hamilton. Verstappen wins the Grand Prix, Perez 2nd, so Red Bull get a 1-2. Sainz got on the podium ahead of Leclerc in 4th, Gasly 5th, Hamilton 6th in the end, Alonso 7th, Vettel 8th. And then Norris and Ricciardo 9th and 10th. No sign of Bugatti on the final race of the season, which is a big shame. And that means in Season 1 of this brand new series, Lewis Hamilton wins the Drivers' Championship, 27 points ahead of teammate Bottas in the end. Verstappen just 45 points off the pace in 3rd. Leclerc 4th, Perez 5th, Sainz 6th, Norris 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, Vettel 10th, Alonso 11th, Schumacher 12th and Stroll, the only other driver to score, in 13th. And that also means Mercedes, dominant in the second half of the season, have won the Constructors' Championship, 195 points ahead of Red Bull. Doesn't tell the whole story. The first half of the season was much closer than that. Ferrari 3rd, McLaren 4th, AlphaTauri 5th, Aston Martin 6th and Alpine in 7th, the only other team to score. Bugatti finishing 8th in their first season in Formula 1, but did fail to register a point, which is a massive shame, to be honest. And after one full season in Formula 1, Bugatti do have the worst car on the grid, which is a massive shame, but to be expected. Big summer ahead. If they can improve properly, they can at least look to get ahead of Haas, maybe Williams, but we'll have to find out next time whether they manage it. If you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more of this content coming out, and I'll catch you guys later.